Lights, camera,
Rolling.
action.
I feel the need for speed. Ow!
Wax on, right hand. Wax off, left hand. Wax on, wax off.
He taught me, keep your friends close, but your enemies closer.
106 miles to Chicago. We got a full tank of gas, half a pack of cigarettes. It's dark, and we're wearing sunglasses.
Hi, I'm Joe, and this is the Filmjoe Podcast, where film talk happens. Hi, I'm Joe,
I'm Daisy.
And I'm Liss.
and welcome to our 5th season of the podcast, where we talk about films, filmmakers, trends, the good, the bad, and the not so bad, all in the spirit and for the love of film. The 1970s, it was a time when we were experiencing crazy inflation, fuel shortages, the Watergate scandal, the counterculture movement, and the ending of the war in Vietnam. Change was bound. And film was also transitioning into a different era. The breakdown of the studio system, the influence of the European New Wave movements in cinema, and it was the first generation of film school graduates, filmmakers like Brian De Palma, George Lucas, Steven Spielberg, Martin Scorsese, and Francis Ford Coppola, that basically they brought in new and innovative ways to tell stories that would change the way we hear, consume, and experience films to this day. So, on this first section of the Filmjoe Podcast, we will be covering films from the 1970s, guys. So, what do you say?
I'm ready.
Let's get it.
So, yeah, I mean, this is cool. I've always wanted to cover the 3 decades of these film because, you know, you have they're very distinctive. They have they have staple elements to each one, and you know, it's the evolution of film. But I think, yeah, where we are in film today is because of what happened in the 70s and then transitioned to the 80s and the 90s.
No, and I like that we're doing this because the 70s is usually a time that when I'm looking for a movie, I'll usually skip this genre, this
Right.
time, and I'll go straight to the 80s.
Mm-hmm.
So it's usually something that I always just skip. So I
Yeah.
think it's just the tip of the iceberg that I've experienced with the 70s. So I'm glad we're doing this.
Yeah. I mean, what was your experience with the 70s, Liz?
I kind of skip over them usually as well,
Mhm.
the movies. I'm not like a huge fan of any of it. It's the colors,
Yeah.
just nothing is intriguing.
Okay. What about Superman?
What?
Have
The
you-
show movie?
No,
I've
no,
never
no,
seen it.
You never. Oh, okay.
Well, maybe we need to cover Superman.
Come on. No.
Oh man, that would be a treat.
Yeah. Well, you know what? That's interesting because the 70s, I mean, some view it, you know, as it was kind of bland. There was no
Mhm.
like fantastical scores for most of these films. You know, and like I stated in the intro, the European New Wave movements in style and the way films were being made really influenced a lot of films in the 70s out here in the States. And so it was very different. I mean, again, you know, you got the 50s and the 60s with the grandiose scores and the dramatic writing, and you know
Oh, I
typical.
love it.
Yeah, and
Me too.
and
It's
it's
the
great.
what is it? Transatlantean accent. I love that so much.
Right.
It's
Oh,
so funny. And the hard-boiled detectives. Oh my gosh,
right.
it's so good to
Yes.
me.
Yeah, and of course, all that, you know, I think, due to the break of the studios, you know, the studio system it broke down and things started to change. And again, you know, these filmmakers came out of film school and they're like, yeah, you know what? Why don't we try this and try that? Look what the Europeans are doing, the French, the Italians, and so forth. And yeah, you know, it's very fascinating. But a lot of those elements, even though some of us may not be fans of, I am personally,
Mhm.
it did bleed out into, say, the 90s, where we get to the 90s with filmmakers like Quentin Tarantino.
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah. So how's everybody doing? We've been out for a couple of months. Daisy, what you been up to?
Nothing, just working, try to stay warm. Um, yeah, it's been a whole year since I've been out here.
Wow, that's right. The 1 year anniversary. Man.
Yeah, it went by in a blur. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, well, happy anniversary of being a New Englander.
Thank you very much. I'm very proud.
You gotta go get some chowder.
I seriously, right? Oh my god, yeah.
Oh,
I mean, you know what? I don't regret coming out here. It's just it was just a lot to get used to. With not having my family with me. That's and I'm still getting used to that. That's still very hard. But other than that, I love it out here.
and the
Yeah,
snow.
The snow's nice, but after a while, it gets really old. The
it's
first
beautiful to look at, but the maintaining sucks.
Oh my god, I hate the shoveling of the freaking driveway. I hate the freezing of the driveway where you're skating on that shit.
Yep.
Oh my
Praying that you don't go down.
Yes, I haven't gone down. I made it a year without going down. My daughter, she fell. She slipped and she hurt her butt on the ice twice. Like, poor thing, man. I
Oh
laughed
my
the first
god.
time, but then the second time it wasn't that funny.
Right. And what about you, Liz? What you been up to?
Same, just working. Today I'm freezing my ass off. I complained to you earlier about it. It's so cold today. I don't know what happened.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like winter just wants to hold on for a little while longer.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Well, pretty much out here it's like 55 right now, so it's not too bad. It's a little chilly.
Oh man, yeah, no.
Yeah, but it's pretty cool. But on my time off, I mean, I've been working. I mean, I guested on Cradle to the Grave with Eric Hansen, which was a lot of fun. It should be coming out. Actually, should be out by the time this episode comes out. So,
Okay.
folks, if you haven't checked that out, check that out. And also, recorded our first episode of Fear on Film on this past Friday.
Awesome.
Yeah, with
Nice.
Sean
Nice.
O'Connor. And it was a blast. And I can't wait for this episode to come out and get into everybody's ear holes. It's going to be
Ooh.
cool.
A little explicit there, but okay.
It's nice and snuggly in there. But yeah, but it was a lot of fun. It really was.
I can't wait
and,
to hear it.
Yeah, it's going to be a blast. So what do you guys say we get into this week's episode?
Okay, I'm ready.
All righty.
Hate it.
Let's dive into the 70s. They're hot. Doc and Carol McCoy. They make it.
We got a report of drunken disorder.
Ma'am, may I see your identification?
Oh, right there.
Get those guns down on the street. Take them over. Now lay down that gutter. In the gutter.
So maybe we should split up. Or cut up the money with you.
Do you mean that?
Yeah, I mean it.
A recently released ex-con and his loyal wife go on the run after a heist goes awry. The film we're talking about here is The Getaway from 1972, directed by Sam Peckinpah, who directed films like The Wild Bunch, Straw Dogs, and The Invasion of the Body Snatchers from 1956. Film stars Steve McQueen from The Magnificent Seven, The Great Escape, Thomas Crown Affair, The Bullet, and Towering Inferno. And it stars Ali McGraw as well, who is pretty much just hot off her first big hit, Love Story. And the film also stars Ben Johnson, who was the train conductor in Terror Train.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's right.
So for this first film, we're going to be rating this on the Filmjoe scale of 1 to 10 money stacks.
Money stacks.
Money. Sounds good?
Yeah, okay. All right, not bad, not bad.
All right. Okay, cool. So basically, the film was based on a 1958 novel by Jim Thompson. Peter Bogdanovich, whose last film was previous to this was The Last Picture Show, impressed Steve McQueen so much and producer David Foster that he was originally hired to direct. So Thompson came on board to write the screenplay, but creative differences between him, McQueen, and Thompson basically it led to Bogdanovich being fired from the film, as well as the writer. So writing and directing duties eventually went to Walter Hill and Sam Peckinpah. Walter Hill, by the way, is responsible for screenplays like 48 Hours, and I think he also worked on Predator. I'm not sure. No, he didn't do Predator, but he did quite a few films in the 80s as well.
Right.
So controversy basically exploded on the set because of Sam Peckinpah. He was an alcoholic, and so he was usually drunk on the set, and that caused issues. Yeah, and a lot of arguments between him and Steve McQueen. The situation got so out of control that at one point, a bottle of champagne was flung at Peckinpah's head.
Holy crap!
Damn.
Yeah, and I Good Money says that was Steve McQueen who flung that bottle. So it was pretty intense, and it didn't help the situation that Steve McQueen and Ally McGraw, they were having an affair while filming The Getaway.
Why not?
And yeah, and it didn't help the fact that Ally McGraw was also married at the time to Paramount's Robert Evans.
Damn, scandalous.
Scandalous. Yes. And hey, that's the way movies got made, back then. So, principal photography commenced on February 7th, 1972, and it was released in December 19th of 1972. All right. So, Daisy, your takes. First time watch? Seen it before?
This was the first time I've seen this movie. This is the first time I even heard of this movie. So overall, it wasn't a bad movie. Not a bad movie at all. I watched it. I had no problem getting through it. It had a very solid story, very solid acting. But it is kind of funny because you did mention this word early on. It was a bit bland for me.
Right.
I felt like it needed something. I don't know, needed a little flavor. And it did, it had a lot of elements of, Bonnie and Clyde. It reminded me a lot of Wisdom.
Yeah.
The whole, bank heist thing. And then it reminded me also of another movie called The Warriors, where basically, they're trying to get from point A to point B without getting caught. And they're going through all these obstacles to get there.
Right.
So I enjoyed it, but it's not something I would watch again, to be honest.
All right. Cool. Okay. Liss.
It's a 70s movie. That's like what Daisy said. To me, it was just Bonnie and Clyde go to Mexico. It was like the end. I don't know. And throw in a creepy dude trying to make this lady take her bra off. It was just very drawn out. Every scene just was like way too long. Like, dude, you can do that in 10 seconds. It doesn't need 10 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
It was just blech.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's my description. Blech.
That's an official film term. Well, yeah. I mean, you know what? It's my first time watch, believe it or not, and it's definitely a film of its time. I mean, you're right. It is bland. It is kind of slow paced, and again, that was very much attributed to the European influence of storytelling.
Mm-hmm.
And though, by the way, I'm not a fan of Ally McGraw. This is actually the second film I've seen her in. The first film was Love Story, and I thought she was horrible in that. Why she was such a huge star, I don't know, but that was just my opinion. But yeah,
she's beautiful.
She's very beautiful.
Yeah.
That's it.
But she was, that's it. I mean, she does have this expression on her face like she's either trying to take a poop or.
Oh God, no, she does not.
She does, or she's like angry or pissed or like I don't know. It's like I love you. I'm like, okay,
dude, what's up with that slapping scene?
Oh, he smacked the shit out of her. We'll get to that. That was something. talk about an element of its time. I mean, holy shit, that must have been a European thing. It's like
that shit never ended too.
It's like oh yeah.
and then there's a pause. You know what? Fuck it.
It's another
round two.
Oh gosh. Yeah, but I mean, I did like it. I mean, I like the the way it was kind of structured, it has good structure. It does.
Mhm.
I can see like Liss, you've pretty much skipped the 70s overall. And so you're not accustomed to it or familiar with it. So yeah, it can come across as bland and kind of slow paced. I mean, it is a slow paced film in some parts. A couple years ago, I got to see another film that Steve McQueen did called Bullet. You guys ever heard of that one?
Yeah.
Yeah,
No.
and you no, it's an interesting film. The same thing. It's kind of slow pace action, and then and so forth. And it doesn't have this thunderous score, or it's very much in line with this film.
Yeah, and and I think that this movie does not define what 70s movies are,
Mm,
because there's a lot of, good movies out there that were made in the 70s that, have a really decent pace and they're not bland.
right. Well, especially towards the end of the 70s, towards like 76, 77, 78, and things started changing, and that's where we started getting the transition into the 80s. But
Mhm.
the early 70s, you'd be surprised. There's a lot of this kind of feel to it. Some was a lot more exciting or interesting. Films we will be getting into later in this season.
Right.
But just so that our listeners are in step with us. The film basically is about this guy who's in prison for whatever reason. Well, did they establish why he was in prison?
Because he stole from a bank, I want to say.
Okay, he was a bank robber.
Yeah.
So he's up for parole, and they deny him. So his girlfriend or his wife, Ally McGraw, comes in, and she's like, "Okay, what happened?" He goes, "This is his name. Do what you got to do." So he sends her to the guy who's part of the parole commission, and so she talks to him, and she basically fucks him, and he gets paroled, which I didn't catch when I first saw it or during
You're
that
not
scene.
alone. I didn't either.
Yeah, and then later on, the question started to creep in. It's like, did she sleep with the guy?
Yep. Yep.
Oh, damn! And did Steve McQueen did he send her to do this? And
And
I'm
why
like,
is he Doc? Is that his
because
name?
I guess it was a nickname they gave him in prison or something, or one of those gangster names or
Yeah.
whatever. Yeah, but yeah, so that I found that kind of cringy. I'm like, wow, how is this a romantic love story? And he says, "Hey, do me a favor, screw this guy so I can get out of jail."
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that was
uh,
weird.
yeah, that was pretty weird. I mean, there was a few weird elements in this, but I mean, did you guys catch a lot of Tarantino vibe though from this?
No,
Like
Granny.
well, more
I didn't
specifically,
know.
Reservoir Dogs.
Well, it's funny because I did find, like a couple of Tarantino's movies a little bit like just kind of bland. So I guess he was doing it right.
Yeah,
I didn't get like a lot of the filming they did, like that water scene, like that was so odd. Like imagining that he jumped in the
yeah,
water, then he actually did. Like, what was the point of that? Why?
yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, just filling in, the space. I mean, there was plenty of film on that roll. Fucking, how long was this movie? 2 hours?
About 2 hours, yeah,
Dude,
and it felt 2 hours.
it
Well,
felt
you
like it.
well, you know what? There's a film with was it Robert Redford and Paul Newman called Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid,
Mhm.
and there is a scene in there like that, where it's the raindrops sequence. Raindrops keep falling on my head, which was kind of odd because it was somewhat anachronistic. It's a western, yet you get a '70s song in there, and he's just right. It's just a montage of him riding a bike and and impressing his girlfriend, and it was kind of weird. I don't know if that was a '70s thing to kind of like give levity to the sequences. I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
so it was
Either
the
ways, yeah.
weed.
You know what? It probably was. I mean, all those filmmakers I listed in the opening, a lot of them were coked up or on weed at the time.
Damn.
That explains this.
Yeah, this place the fucking champagne bottle.
Yeah, exactly. What's also interesting, I mean, to me, once the bank heist starts, it kind of picks up a little. I like that part when
Mhm.
he's putting together the plan. He goes, okay, you're going to be on this corner. You're going to be doing this. The guard does this and so forth. I like that. That was very reminiscent of a lot of heist films we see today. The planning aspect and the execution, And the whole bank heist part was really cool. I thought that was a lot of fun.
The one scene that I really did like is when they were having like the guy was getting shot at and the blood scenes, and it just looked like straight spray paint coming out of his shirt. That was so good. I did love that.
Like ketchup.
Oh my God. Yeah, I noticed that right off the bat. The blood is like a bright red. I'm like, oh man, that looks really
so
fake.
good.
looks like paint.
You know, and the thing is that because it's a 70s movie, you know, you kind of let it pass. You're like, they didn't know what blood looked like back in those days. It's okay. They didn't know how to do it.
Oh my God. Yeah, but I mean, that whole aspect, I mean, that part was a lot of fun, really cool. You know, because there was a lot of bank heist films in the 70s. You got Dog Day Afternoon, which we will be covering, The Sting, Thunderbolt and Lightfoot, The Italian Job, although that was 1969. You know, they all have a lot of shared elements that influence films that we see today. You know, the double cross, you know, when Benyon, the commissioner or whatever at the parole board, he double crosses them. And, you know, the setup is, okay, the whole thing was, okay, you spring him out, you do the bank job, yada yada, bring him to me, and then you come up behind Doc, your husband, and you kill him, you shoot him. And you know, that was the whole double cross. But of course, she doesn't shoot her husband; she shoots, you know, Benyon instead. And
yeah, that was, you know, I think that could have been played up a little bit better, though.
Yeah, it was almost anticlimactic. You know, it's supposed to be a moment where you go, "Oh shit," and you're like,
I almost oh shit it, but then I'm like, what? You know, it was kind of confusing. Like, is it what I'm thinking?
Right.
Yeah.
And you know, and I really didn't like Carol. Was it Carol, right? The wife. I really didn't like her character at all. I mean, she was kind of like she was a dumbass. I mean, when she stores the money in the locker and, you know, the guy comes from behind her and says, "Oh, can I help you out? You know, these things can be tricky." She has $500,000 in that satchel. And she lets some random dude just help her put it in. And what does he do? He swaps out the keys.
That was crazy though. I like how that played out.
Yeah, and which led to what's his name, Doc beating the shit out of her later on because
that's right. Oh my God!
They get in the car. He stops the car. He starts smacking her, which was fucked up. I mean, you know.
Yeah, because I mean, he kept on. He wouldn't stop. It's like,
yeah,
dude, you got. I mean, I understand. I fucked up.
And you know, that was another thing, an element of the 70s is we know, I mean, hitting a woman, you don't do that shit, right? But back then, unfortunately, it was more socially acceptable. I mean, it wasn't like, oh, it's okay to hit your wife. No, but it's like, it's not, but if, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that was cringy, actually. It really was.
It was. I was shocked. I was like, holy shit. But just the fact that he, you know, right when you think, okay, yeah, it's over. He keeps on hitting her. Like, holy shit. I think there was like 3 rounds of that shit.
Yeah, he went almost from, oh, that's messed up to, okay, this is fucking comical. I mean, it was just, yeah. I'm like, they went too far with that scene. And talk about weird shit. The whole thing with Fran, Rudy, and Harold, the veterinarians.
How the fuck did she
cringy.
go from point A? Yes.
Yeah.
How the fuck did she go from being a scared hostage to like, how you doing? That was gross.
Yeah, and it wasn't even like he's freaking throwing ribs in her face, and she's like, like, bitch, what are you doing?
She's like, slap another rib. She's like, slap another rib against my neck, baby. I like it. That was so gross.
Oh gosh,
the whole situation was gross. And what was the point of that?
There was no point. I don't know. I mean, maybe sexual freedom, and I don't know. I mean, because for the listeners, what happens is that there is, you know, after the double cross goes bad, you know, the bad guys, they send out a killer to hunt down Doc and Carol. So in the way he confronts them, he gets shot. They think he's dead. He's not dead. He's all fucked up and banged up. And he comes across these veterinarians, this husband and wife, and he hijacks them, you know, to take them across the country to chase down Doc and Carol. Throughout the thing, the veterinarian's wife gets frisky with the killer, and they have it was fucking weird.
It was gross because
Mhm.
he was just like not attractive at all. Like,
Oh, it's
Oh,
disgusting.
it was
yeah,
really disgusting. Not to mention, they were doing it in front of that poor man.
yeah.
Mhm.
What was up with that shit?
Oh man, that was really like, oh, that was a
Yeah.
mind fuck right there. That,
Yeah, and so yeah, I didn't get that whole subplot thing. I mean, I understand. Okay, he kidnapped this couple so they can take them and so forth, but why go there? There was no real reason for that.
no, and
I
on
think
top of
maybe,
that, that bitch was annoying.
yeah, she really, really was. I mean, they take the Stockholm syndrome to a different level here.
Oh yeah,
Yeah. So, but yeah. So again, I don't know what was up with that. I understand that he needed to get from point A to point B, but so yeah, that was totally unnecessary.
yeah.
Oh, and Daisy, did you notice the trash compactor scene?
It reminded me of Star Wars.
Right? I'm I'm sitting there going, oh, yeah, it's so true. And this is another example on how films of the 70s really influenced everything on down.
Yeah,
Of the late 70s into the 80s, the trash compactor scene, Lucas, he borrowed a lot from everything. He admitted it. Um
that's crazy. Although they got squished though.
That was
they
like a 25-minute scene that could have been done again in 1 minute.
I totally agree. It was taking too long. And I don't know. They said, "Oh, this is a great concept, great idea. Let's do more. Let's keep going. Let's
Uh,
build that." And it just got mundane and it just got boring.
they
Um,
got comfortable. They took a nap in that shit.
yeah.
Well, maybe they filmed it all in slow motion and we watched it wrong and we were supposed to fast forward through it.
Oh, now I get
I
it.
did
Okay.
it wrong. God
Mm.
damn it.
Oh man. But yeah, I mean, I appreciate the film for what it is and what they were trying to do. I mean, they were definitely changing the way storytelling was done in film. And to me it's kind of like a rough draft of what we see later on in Tarantino films, in even big blockbuster films, heist films and so forth. Just like that movie or that series on Netflix, Money Heist.
Mhm.
You see a lot of 70s influence and a lot of, like the planning. You see that here. So yeah, you know. So what do you say we get into the budget and the box office on this one?
Okay.
Mhm.
All righty. So budget at the time was about 3.3 million, which is about $25.1 million in today's money. Box office at the time of release was about 36 million, and that's about 274.8 million. So it was a massive hit. It was the 8th highest grossing film of the year. So it did really well. Again, I think it's just because it was something different. And
Mhm.
you have, and Steve McQueen, I mean, you heard the films that I've mentioned that he's done before. The guy was a megastar. So he was a huge box office draw. And, one thing we forgot to mention, Steve McQueen, regardless, the dude was a badass.
Mhm. He was a badass. I give him that. He was cool.
Yeah. He was really cool. I mean, the scene where he is going, breaking down the heist to his crew. I mean, the dude was slick as hell. I mean, he was so badass. If you ever watched, if I do recommend watch The Great Escape that he was in, or Papillon, which is another film he did with Dustin Hoffman.
Mhm.
He's a damn good actor. He had screen gravitas. He had sex appeal. He had, this stern, just guys wanted to be him and girls just wanted to be with him. He had
Mhm.
this magnetism to him.
Mhm.
So, and of course, so, and also that Ali McGraw was just fresh off of Love Story, which was a huge hit. Yeah, I can see the box office where it is.
Mhm.
Reviews and scores. So initial reaction to The Getaway was negative.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
As it should be.
Gene Siskel of the Chicago Tribune, he said The Getaway, it played like a 1970s version of Bonnie and Clyde.
Mhm.
And he actually liked it. He gave it 3.5 stars out of 4. IMDb sitting at a 7.3, has a Metascore of 89, Rotten Tomatoes critic score 84 with an audience score of 81, and Letterboxd 3.7 stars out of 5. So pretty high scores overall.
Right.
Yeah. And so now sequels and remakes. There was a remake in 1994, directed by Roger Donaldson, and it starred Alec Baldwin and Kim Basinger in the lead roles. It received severely negative reviews once it was out.
Really?
Yeah, it didn't do well at all. And I saw it, and yeah, it has more action. It's much more fast paced than the original, but you could tell the acting quality and so forth. The script is just worse.
Jeez. Okay. So great acting, but wow.
Yeah. So let's.
I'm pausing, trying to figure out how can you make this script worse. But
yeah, seriously.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? If you look at the dialogue and so forth, and the structure of the original, if you kind of break it down, it is a pretty decent script. But versus what they did in '94, it was more garbage by comparison. So, yeah.
Damn.
So let's give our ratings. Daisy, you go first.
Okay, so like I say, the acting and the story, was pretty solid. Bland storytelling. I wouldn't watch it again, but because it did have a good a good platform, a good what is that platform? Let's just call it platform. I'm gonna give it a 6.5.
Okay, 6.5. Alrighty.
Wow.
Liss.
To me, it felt like the 70s, like just boring mustard green and yellow, and it was just. I did love the paint though, the blood paint. Like you said, they didn't know what blood looked like back then. It was just so drawn out, and all that creepy subplot, like it was just so yuck. I give it 1 money stacks just for the blood.
Wow. Okay.
That's hard.
Alrighty. That is hardcore. I gotta respect that score though. I mean, and your reasoning. So for me, you know what? I'm mirroring Daisy's review here. I mean, it was, it was bland. And I like the way it can be when it would get brutal. It was brutal, and that was intense. And Steve McQueen, he shines as a badass. He's the only thing that really stands out for me in this film. So my score, I'm going to give this 6.5 out of 10 money stacks as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it had potential. It really did.
Yeah, it did. And like the both of you, this is not a film that I would watch again.
No. And it's funny. Yeah. Like I said, it was a movie that was, that needed a remake. Unfortunately, they screwed the pooch on this shit. And, it had potential, maybe we'll see a remake again someday.
Yeah, maybe. Right. Hopefully.
Yeah.
And you know what? Let Tarantino do it. That would rock.
That would actually be kind of cool.
Yeah.
I could totally.
Alrighty. So what do you say we move into our next film, guys?
Okie dokie.
Yes, please.
Okay. So next up, a monster science created but could not destroy.
You hear me? Give my creation life!
Sky means business.
Young Frankenstein!
Oh dear, nothing left. What shall we throw in now?
Starring Gene Wilder as Dr. Frankenstein.
That's Frankenstein. But what about your grandfather's work, sir?
My grandfather's work was doo-doo! Peter Boyle as the monster. Wow! Marty Feldman as Igor.
My grandfather used to work for your grandfather.
I'm sure we'll get along splendidly. Oh, sorry.
Cloris Leachman as Frau Blucher.
You played that music in the middle of the night?
Yes!
To get us into the laboratory.
Yes!
And it was you who left my grandfather's book out for me to find.
Yes!
So that I would?
Yes!
Then you and Victor were...
Say it. He was my boyfriend!
An American grandson of the infamous scientist struggles to prove that his grandfather was not insane as people believed. is invited to Transylvania, where he discovers a process that reanimates a dead body. The film we are talking about here is Young Frankenstein from 1974, directed by Mel Brooks, who brought us The Producers, Blazing Saddles, Silent Movie, Spaceballs, and Robin Hood Men in Tights. The film stars Gene Wilder, Madeline Kahn, Marty Feldman, Peter Boyle, Cloris Leachman, Terry Garr, and Kenneth Mars. Yes, that's a beautiful cast.
You know what? And such a beautiful fucking movie.
Oh, God, yes. So for this one, we're going to be rating this on the Filmjoe scale of 1 to 10 lightning bolts, okay?
Okay.
All righty. So now in a 2010 interview with the LA Times, Mel Brooks, he talked about this film and how it came about. He said that he was in the middle of shooting into a few weeks. He was filming Blazing Saddles somewhere out in the interloper in the Antelope Valley. And the film also starred Gene Wilder. And they were having a cup of coffee. And Wilder says, hey, you know what? I have an idea that could, for a Frankenstein film. Mel Brooks is like, oh, God, not another. We've had the son of Frankenstein, the cousin, the brother-in-law. We don't need another Frankenstein. So he basically presented his idea. It was very simple. What if the grandson of Dr. Frankenstein wanted to do nothing with the family whatsoever? He was ashamed of those wackos. Mel Brooks thought about it. He goes, that's funny. So little by little, every night, Gene Wilder and Mel Brooks, they would meet at a bungalow in Bel Air. They'd order like a pot of Earl Grey tea, and they'd have and just chill out there and biscuits, and they'd go step by step over the story plot lines and what they wanted to do, and and they say they wanted to just throw caution and good sense right out the window, and so Brooks and Wilder, however, they did disagree on one sequence in the film, and that's where Frankenstein, Dr. Frankenstein, and his creation perform Putting on the Ritz.
Oh, I love that fucking scene.
Yes. Brooks felt it was way too silly to have a monster sing and dance, but eventually he yielded to Wilder's agreement. In fact, the agreement was, okay, we'll film it. If it doesn't work, it goes. Okay. They filmed it. They screened it. People lost their shit. And Mel Brooks was like, okay, you were right. And it stayed. Thank God.
Oh my God. I love that fucking scene. That was awesome.
So
yes.
It seems like Gene Wilder did that a lot, because I remember seeing an interview years ago about him and Charlie in the Chocolate Factory about when he first comes out, kind of the same thing. Like, I'll film it, but I have to do it this way. Like, he's good about knowing what his part needs.
Yeah, he really had a good intuition of what worked and what didn't. And you can see where, okay, you heard the filmography that Mel Brooks had at that point. That who would know better, Mel Brooks or Gene Wilder?
Exactly.
And much credit to Mel Brooks that he wasn't one of those egotistical kind of or an egoist that would say, well, I know what I'm doing. He worked with him, and they created this magic of a film. But they were obviously they were really good friends, but they also got into a lot of arguments during the production. And one night during production, Brooks was throwing a huge temper tantrum, and there was yelling and raging, and they went at it. They were screaming. It was at Wilder's apartment, and Brooks pretty much said, "Fuck this," and he walked out yelling and screaming.
Oh,
and slammed the door and left. 10 minutes later, his Gene Wilder's phone rang. It was Mel Brooks. He says, "Who was that madman you had in your house? I could hear all that yelling all the way out here. You should have never let crazy people on your house. You don't know. That could be." And that was Mel Brooks's. And that was his way of apologizing, because they really did obviously respect each other. Now, unlike many other of Brooks's films, Brooks does not appear on screen in Young Frankenstein. Technically, it wasn't allowed. Gene Wilder pretty much said, if you're on the screen, it's a Mel Brooks film, and it's kind of distraction. But there was he was kind of there in the film. Remember the scene with the darts
Yeah.
when and you hear that wow in the background?
Yeah, the fucking cat.
That was Mel Brooks.
Oh, okay, nice.
Yeah. So basically, Brooks and his producer, they originally agreed to do this film over Columbia Pictures. But Columbia would not agree to a budget of more than 1.75 million, whereas Brooks wanted at least 2.3 million. And also, they were not happy over Columbia that the fact that they were doing this in black and white. So it went back and forth, and they said fuck off, and they went to 20th Century Fox, where they agreed to a higher budget and to do it in black and white. So they were good with it. Principal photography began February 19th, 1974, and wrapped May 3rd, 1974. The film was released December 15th, 1974. All righty. So let's get into the meat of this one. Daisy?
All right. So this was actually the first time that I actually got to see this whole movie in its entirety.
No way.
Yeah. Often I would see like little bits and pieces, and all of those bits and pieces I loved. So I'm like, yeah, I love Young Frankenstein, but I never got to, actually sit there and watch it from beginning to end. And it was so much fun to watch. I really loved this movie. For me, it really made me feel like I was watching, a very old classic movie. And it had elements very reminiscent to like the Three Stooges, Laurel and Hardy, and it reminded me of this one movie starring Dean Martin and Jerry Lewis called Scared Stiff.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So yeah, overall, I freaking loved that. I loved all the gags. It was freaking classic. So yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Liss.
It was a first watch for me, surprise. And I know it's a Mel Brooks film and everyone's supposed to know all about Mel Brooks. The only thing I really know him from is Spaceballs, and it so gave those vibes.
Mm-hmm.
Right. But it was really fun. Like, I thought this was going to be like an older one. I'm not sure if this came out before or after Spaceballs, because the black and white I was kind of thrown and I didn't
right.
I could have. But it totally had those just. It was really, it was a fun watch. And all these just like weird, goofy characters, like you said, like kind of Three Stooge-ish, if that's a word.
It is now.
But that hermit, just Mr. Magoo and everything, was great. He was just like fucking shit up. He was just straight obliviousness. I was dying. And I don't usually like crack up, especially in old movies, but this had me like hysterical. This was great. And this, because it's my first watch now, I can't even imagine how funny it was when it first came out.
Oh, God, can you imagine? Oh, well, I'm glad you enjoyed it. I mean, it's, it's kind of hard not to. The movie is so silly. The sight gags, the line gags, and they're so childlike. They're so infantile.
I love it. I love that part where they're looking at the decomposing heads. 6 years, 6 months. And then they fucking show Igor right there.
Oh my God. He was amazing. Igor
was the shit.
Marty Feldman. Oh my God. He was, and they said he was the sweetest, gentlest man that they ever worked with. He was just a sweetheart. He passed away in the 80s. He had a home in Mexico. Mm-hmm. And he passed away. I forgot what he died of, but it was pretty sad. He wasn't that old, but the guy was a comedic genius. I mean, a lot of that stuff there's a lot of improvisation on the set. Ooh. That Mel Brooks would, an actor or an actress would come out with something. He'd go, that stays. It's like Igor or Marty Feldman. He had the hump on one side.
Oh God, that shit was funny.
It was, and so just to fuck with his co-stars, he would switch it to the other side, and he kept doing it. They didn't know until one day they're like, "What? Wasn't that on the other?" Mel Brooks lost his shit. He's like, "This stays in the film. It's part of it. We're gonna make it a point."
He used that again. I want to say it was in Men in Tights.
Man in Tights, the mole.
Yes, it kept on moving all over the place. Who was that though?
Oh, yeah, I forgot who the actor was, but yeah, I know exactly
Yeah.
what you're talking.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and but here, it originated there. I
That's
mean, there's
awesome.
just so much, and again, the lines, some of the things that they would come out with, they were so silly. It's like when he jumps in the haystack in the wagon, and they pick him up from the train station. Igor picks him up from the train station, and he goes, "Okay, get in the back." And there's all this hay, and he finds Inga, played by a beautiful Terry Garr, and he goes, "Oh, I'm sorry." He goes, "Oh, it's okay. Would you like to take a roll in the hay?"
roll in the hay.
It was their delivery, their timing, everything was perfect on this. It was so
Oh,
good.
The wolf, though.
Oh, werewolf. Their castle.
He's like, "Why are you talking like this?"
and he breaks character, and he's like, "Oh, didn't you want to talk this way?" Oh no. Yeah, I mean, I've seen this easily about 15, 20 times easily.
Damn.
Gosh, why didn't you suggest this to me then, Joe? I'm kidding.
I was waiting for the right moment. See, it's just it's one of the funniest to me personally. One of the funniest films of all time. And I don't say that lightly. There's some great comedies out there, but this is way, way up there. And to me, my favorite Mel Brooks film. Some would say Blazing Saddles. Some would say The Producers.
That's tough.
But yeah, but this one, I mean, it's rapid fire gag lines that are just thrown at you. And I say about a good 98% of the jokes, they land. And they make you, yeah. But what I also love about this is that Brooks and Wilder, obviously this is supposed to be, a spoof of the Frankenstein films and the 30s films, but it's not really a spoof if you think about it. Nor because they avoid making a mockery of the original 1931 film, but instead it's like a humorous, loving homage is what it is. So
it's its own story.
Yeah, so it's not really making fun of the source of the original, but it's like a little ribbing, a little fun stuff, which I love. Because check this out, interesting factoid: the lab equipment, a lot of that stuff was from the original film.
Oh, no way!
Oh,
yeah. The guy who designed the stuff for the original film back in 1931, his name was Ken Strickfaden. He created and designed all this elaborate machinery, and Brooks found out that he was still alive and living in Los Angeles. So he visited Strickfaden, I guess, to say, "Hey, can you help, design some of the stuff?" And he found that he had a bunch of this shit still stashed in his garage from 1931.
Wow.
So Brooks told him, "Listen, I'll make you a deal. I'll rent the equipment from you, and I'll give you screen credit that you did not, originally receive in 1931." And he did.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah. So it's really and obviously there was some new stuff in there, but I'm sure Strickfaden had a lot of say in the design and the look of a lot of this stuff. But it was great. It was great.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's simply a classic. Yeah. I actually want to watch this movie again.
Yeah, it's one of those things. It's one of those films that you can watch over and over again, and you know where the gags are coming, and they still. I mean, like for example, "Hey, why don't you help me take the bags in the house?" He's like, "Yeah, I'll take the blonde, you take the brunette." Like, you don't, it's like, oh my god, they're so corny but so funny.
Oh my god, yeah, awesome movie.
Yeah. So, another thing. Remember where she goes? Terry Garr. She's like, they're having dinner, and she's like, "Okay, so if he has big arms and big body, shouldn't he be completely proportional?" And this, wouldn't he have a huge Schwanzstücke?
Oh my god, I was dying.
And he's like, "Well, yeah." Ooh, woof.
No, and I love the twist. And like I said, I saw this in parts. I was totally not expecting the ending.
Oh God, yes.
She's like,
He's like, oh gosh. Now that it's great. In fact, Schwanzstücke is an actual word. It translates. It's German for tail tucker. So,
what the fuck?
yeah. So Schwanz is actually a slang term in Germany for penis.
Wow.
Woof. Yeah.
Okay, don't do that. You know what? You know that running gag with Frau Blücher?
Oh, I love that. Yes.
Where they fucking so in the movie that's supposed to be translated into glue, right? Which is why the horse is supposed to be neighing all the time. But but then I looked further into it and it does not translate into glue.
Oh, okay.
So they kind of fucked up.
So they kind of either A was just an urban legend, or B they made a mistake initially.
Exactly. I think that's pretty much it. Yeah. It's still a really cool running gag though.
Oh, fucking love it. I mean, come on. I mean, how many lines can you quote from this? There's so many.
Yes.
How about this? It's like, does this mean that you, yes, and him, yes, and so forth, yes, he was my boyfriend.
That was so funny. Who said that?
Oh gosh. Now, Now, okay, I got to pose a question to both of you, okay?
Yeah.
Now, there's two scenes in this that I find the funniest. I mean, that's kind of hard to, it's still debatable, okay? There's two. Which one is the funniest? Abby Normal or Putting on the Ritz?
I loved Abby Normal.
I did. I did because I love how he's like, sit down,
Abby something.
he's trying to like keep like from not being like pissed off. He's like, sit down. No. Sit down right there.
Oh gosh. And that whole sequence, I believe it was done in multiple takes because Gene Wilder kept cracking up.
That's what I wrote in my notes. I said, how did Gene Wilder keep a straight face?
He could.
Why? Like, I would die trying to film with this guy. He was hilarious.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I mean, and the thing is that Marty Feldman, he knew that he could crack Gene Wilder up, and he was fucking with him. So he would give him that little look with the crooked eyes, the bulging eyes, just to fuck with him. And yeah, he would just lose it. And if you look closely, you can see he's suppressing a smile. He's holding back.
I love it.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Can you guys agree? Not one weak performance in the entire film.
No, I think it was pretty consistent all the way through.
Yeah. All just memorable actors. Madeline Kahn was, oh God, she was, taffeta. Yeah, taffeta. No, the dress is taffeta. It wrinkles easily. I'm like, oh my. She
Even
was
the dumbass, what is it, constable with his freaking arm everywhere?
Yes.
Oh my God.
Yeah, Kenneth Mars. And you know what's sad? I mean, it's time, I guess. But, the only living person from that film is Mel Brooks right now.
Yeah, because, I did not know. Okay, like I said, I've seen many scenes of this movie. And I did not know that Gene Hackman was in this.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the blind guy and I'm like, that's him. Oh my God.
Yeah. And he was great. He was at the end when he burns Frankenstein's finger, or the monster's finger. He burns his lap with the soup and all that because he's blind. He can't see. And the monster runs out. He's like, where are you going? I was going to make espresso.
No, and it's funny how patient the freaking monster was.
He's also. Oh God. Now, and one thing that I love about films is where I watch a film, especially a comedy, and you can tell that the cast is having a good time.
Yeah.
It bleeds onto the film. And yeah, apparently they had so much fun filming this that when it came time to, okay, the last scene we're filming tomorrow, and people are like, oh man, okay, they were bummed out. So what did
Wow.
Mel Brooks do? He wrote extra scenes to film so they can keep going a little longer.
Oh my God, that is so freaking cool.
Yeah, and so you could tell it's pure magic. There was a great documentary that I saw years and years ago on PBS on the behind the scenes, and it was like a 2.5 hour documentary, and it was fan-fucking-tastic. And to this day, I can't find it. I don't know where it is. I've looked for it, and so if any listeners out there know about this documentary, please, please, please email me. I would love to find out. I want to see it again because, yeah, to me, this one's near and dear to my heart. Alrighty.
Nice.
So what do you say we get to the budget and box office of this?
Okay.
All right. So the budget at the time was about $2.78 million, and that's about $17.9 million in today's dollars. Box office at the time, $86.2 million, and in today's dollars, that's $557.9 million. Massive hit.
Wow.
Massive hit. And so reviews and scores, it received massively positive acclaim from critics. They loved it. Roger Ebert gave it, check this out, a full 4 stars.
What? I don't think I've ever heard him do that.
Yeah, 4 stars. He called it the most disciplined and visually inventive film, and it also happens to be very funny.
Mhm.
So yeah, it got rave reviews all around. IMDb sitting at an 8.0, Metascore 83, Rotten Tomatoes critic score 95% with an audience score of 92. Letterboxd 4 out of 5.
Wow.
Huge numbers. Sequels and spin-offs, there were none. There were no remakes of this. There was, however, a musical that began on Broadway back in October of 2007. It opened from October through, I think it was January of 2009. And it received a lot of good reviews. And it was often compared to The Producers, another adaptation for Broadway. However, I saw the cast for it. I don't know. This is one of these films that you cannot recast.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, to me, Gene Wilder will forever be Dr. Frankenstein. Peter Boyle.
Frankenstein.
Oh, Frankenstein. Excuse me. Yeah. Yeah, and Frau Blucher will always, she will always be Cloris Leachman and so forth. These, so I can't. When I heard they're doing a musical, initially I was piqued. It piqued my interest, but I'm like, nah, I can't.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Alrighty, so let's go on ahead and let's give our ratings on a scale of 1 to 10. Lightning bolts, Daisy.
I love this movie. We'll watch it again. I'm gonna give this 9.0 lightning bolts.
Wow, that's nice. Okay,
I found nothing wrong with this movie.
Yeah, it's hard to find any flaws in this.
I really tried, but no, there's nothing wrong with this movie. It's pure genius. It's classic. It's awesome.
All right. So, Liss.
I can't believe this was a film that held up so well. When you said 70s, I really was very skeptical. It was fantastic. Marty Feldman as Igor was amazing. He was just such a great and competent assistant, and the jokes held up. What did I write? 8 lightning bolts.
890 bucks. All right. Very solid score. Glad you enjoyed it. I mean, it's yeah. So for me, Daisy, you nailed it. It's close to perfection as you can get. The script, the gags, the production value, the sets, the cinematography, everything I mean, for me, I'm just going to have to give this a solid 10 out of 10 lightning bolts.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah. One of my all-time favorites. So yeah, I mean, just a great film. So you guys have any recommendations for 70s films? I know you guys haven't watched many of them.
70s films. Jeez. I mean, I didn't prepare for this.
I hear the crickets.
Towering Inferno.
Towering Inferno. That's a damn good one. That was what, 1974, I believe. That's
Yeah.
also with Steve McQueen. That's a damn good one.
Yeah. Oh, Earthquake.
And Earthquake.
I love disaster movies.
Right. Well, the
Muppet
70s
movie.
What? There you go. Hey, the Great Muppet Caper. Oh shit! You know what? Okay. Race for Your Life, Charlie Brown. Was that in the 70s?
Yes, I think it was.
Fucking
I'm
awesome.
not sure. Okay. All right. Well, I got a few recommendations, okay? And I think a couple of these we are actually going to be covering this season. So, folks, if you haven't seen these films, check them out. We'll be covering them. So the first one I'm going to recommend is Dog Day Afternoon from 1975 with Al Pacino. Heist film gone tits up. Really good film. But it's damn good. It's really, it's intense. I think you guys are going to like it.
Okay.
1973's American Graffiti from George Lucas.
Ah, yes.
Beautiful film. I think you guys can enjoy that.
I enjoyed that movie. That's awesome.
Yeah. And Apocalypse Now from 1979. I highly recommend that. Everything pointed against it to get made and produced, and it turned out to be a masterpiece of a film.
Wow.
Yeah. So good stuff. Good stuff. So you guys got some homework to do.
Okay. I like homework. No, I don't.
But I'm sure, Liz, don't worry. I mean, the films will get better as we go through the 70s.
Let's hope. Well, you got like 50-50 this week. So.
There you go. I had a strong idea, a strong feeling that you were going to enjoy Young Frankenstein. So, we would have had problems if you would have hated it. So.
I like how she goes on her rants when she hates it, though. I love it.
I know. I hated it. Didn't like it. Well, oh gosh, but yeah, no, we got it. It was pretty cool. Interesting. We see different aspects of the 70s with these two films. So, alrighty. So join us next week as we continue our journey into the 1970s. First off, we're gonna have Deliverance from 1972 with Burt Reynolds. Oh shit, who else is in it? Well, Burt Reynolds for now. We'll get deeper into that later. And One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest from 1975. Yeah, Jack Nicholson classic. So that's going to be interesting. Really interesting to watch these two films. So you guys ready for that?
I'm ready. Yeah.
All right.
Two great titles.
Oh yeah. All right. So folks, listeners, we really hope you enjoyed this show. And thank you for joining us for our new season. So please help to support the pod by giving us a nice 5-star rating, leave us a good review, or another way you can support us is simply to subscribe and or follow us on Amazon, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Deezer, Audible, Boomplay, or wherever you get your podcast fix. You can also catch me on my new monthly horror podcast, Fear on Film with Sean O'Connor, where we cover all the latest horror films. Available on all the same platforms. I'm not going to repeat them all. This is the same ones.
Wow, you're not going to repeat them.
No.
Wow.
Yeah. And as for Liss,
5, it's a new Joe.
There you go. All right. And as for Liss, you can catch her on her podcast, Ouch, Was That a Ghost? on Patreon, Spotify, Amazon, or most platforms where you get your creepy and weird podcast fix. Also, don't forget to check us out on Instagram, YouTube, Threads, TikTok, Blue Sky. All of the stuff you can find in our LinkTree notes in the show notes below. You can also contact us directly by email to thefilmjoepod@gmail.com. We love to hear your feedback. So, with that being said, I'm Joe.
I'm Daisy.
And I'm Liss.
And this is the Filmjoe Podcast,
where film talk happens.